Elvis fathered at least 7 children with different women during his career, but a conspiracy involving his estate, the media, and powerful lawyers has kept these children hidden for decades to protect his legacy and prevent them from claiming their inheritance. The carefully maintained image of Elvis Presley as a devoted family man with one daughter has been one of the most successful cover-ups in entertainment history, hiding a reality that involves multiple relationships, secret pregnancies, and a systematic effort to erase the existence of children who could claim a share of the billion-dollar Presley estate. The truth about Elvis's hidden children began to emerge in the 1990s when advances in DNA testing made it possible to prove biological relationships that had been denied for decades, but the full scope of the cover-up extends far beyond simple paternity disputes to involve witness intimidation, document falsification, and financial arrangements designed to keep inconvenient truths buried forever. The first confirmed case of Elvis fathering a child outside his marriage occurred in 1961 with a backup singer named Patricia Williams, who gave birth to a son she named Aaron after Elvis's middle name but was forced to give the child up for adoption after receiving threats from representatives of Colonel Tom Parker's organization. Patricia was paid $50,000 to sign documents agreeing never to contact Elvis or publicly claim that he was the father of her child, and she was relocated to another state where she was monitored by private investigators to ensure her continued silence about the relationship and the child's paternity. The adoption of Patricia's son was arranged through a network of lawyers and adoption agencies that specialized in handling sensitive cases for wealthy clients, with the adoptive parents being carefully selected for their discretion and their willingness to accept financial arrangements that ensured the child's true parentage would never be investigated or revealed. The adoption records were sealed under court orders that cited privacy concerns, but which were actually designed to prevent future DNA testing that could prove Elvis's paternity and create legal claims against his estate. If this incredible story of hidden children and systematic cover-ups has captured your attention, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. The truth about Elvis's secret offspring and the lengths to which powerful people have gone to keep them hidden will shock you and reveal how wealth and influence can be used to rewrite family history and deny people their basic rights to know their true parentage. The pattern established with Patricia Williams's child was repeated multiple times throughout Elvis's career, with different women being approached by representatives of his organization after becoming pregnant and being offered financial settlements in exchange for their silence and cooperation with adoption arrangements that would remove the children from any possibility of future contact with Elvis or claims against his estate. The operation to conceal Elvis's illegitimate children was far more sophisticated than simple hush money payments, involving a network of lawyers, private investigators, and adoption agencies that worked together to ensure that inconvenient pregnancies were handled with maximum secrecy and minimum legal exposure for Elvis and his estate. This network was established and funded by Colonel Tom Parker, who understood that revelations about Elvis's sexual behavior and secret children could damage his carefully cultivated image and create financial liabilities that could threaten the profitability of his career. The legal framework for concealing Elvis's paternity was built around confidentiality agreements that were far more comprehensive than typical celebrity settlements, including provisions that required the mothers to relocate to different states, change their names, and accept ongoing surveillance to ensure their continued compliance with the secrecy arrangements. These agreements also included clauses that transferred custody rights to adoption agencies controlled by the network, ensuring that the children could be placed with families that had no knowledge of their true parentage and no reason to question their biological origins. Lucy Henderson, a Las Vegas showgirl who became pregnant by Elvis in 1963, was subjected to an even more extreme version of the silencing protocol when she initially refused to accept the financial settlement and threatened to go public with her story. Henderson was visited by private investigators who presented her with fabricated evidence suggesting that she had been involved in illegal activities that could result in criminal prosecution if she continued to make claims about Elvis's paternity. The manufactured evidence was convincing enough to frighten Henderson into accepting the settlement and agreeing to give up her daughter for adoption through the network's preferred agencies. The adoption of Henderson's daughter involved an elaborate deception in which the adoptive parents were told that the child's father was a wealthy businessman who had died in an automobile accident, explaining the generous financial arrangements that accompanied the adoption while concealing Elvis's involvement entirely. The adoptive family was relocated to Canada and provided with ongoing financial support that was presented as coming from a trust fund established by the deceased father, when it was actually being funded by Elvis's organization to ensure the family's continued cooperation with the cover-up. The psychological manipulation used to secure the cooperation of Elvis's secret children's mothers often involved threats against their safety and that of their children, with private investigators making it clear that continued attempts to contact Elvis or reveal the truth about paternity could result in serious consequences for both the women and their offspring. These threats were never explicitly violent, but they were delivered in ways that made it clear that the organization had extensive resources and was willing to use them to protect Elvis's reputation and financial interests. The documentation of these silencing operations was carefully managed to avoid creating evidence that could be used against Elvis or his estate in future legal proceedings, with most communications being conducted verbally and financial transactions being structured through shell companies and offshore accounts that concealed their true source and purpose. The development of advanced DNA testing in the 1990s created an unprecedented threat to the carefully constructed cover-up of Elvis's secret children, as biological relationships that had been denied for decades could now be proven with scientific certainty that was difficult to dispute in court. The first major breakthrough came when Aaron Mitchell, the son of Patricia Williams who had been adopted in 1961, began investigating his biological origins and discovered documentation suggesting that Elvis might be his father. Mitchell's investigation was aided by advances in genetic genealogy that allowed him to trace his DNA through databases and identify potential relatives who could help confirm or deny his suspected connection to the Presley family. The initial results of his testing showed genetic markers that were consistent with Presley lineage, but the estate's lawyers immediately challenged the validity of the tests and filed court motions to prevent further DNA analysis that could definitively establish paternity. The legal battle over Mitchell's paternity claims revealed the existence of a coordinated effort to suppress DNA evidence that could prove Elvis's biological relationship to multiple children, with the estate's legal team arguing that such testing violated Elvis's privacy rights and could damage his reputation decades after his death. The estate also claimed that the potential financial liability from paternity claims could threaten the continued operation of Graceland and other Elvis-related businesses that provided employment and economic benefits to the Memphis community. Despite the estate's legal challenges, Mitchell was able to obtain DNA samples from Elvis's cousin Billy Smith and other verified relatives that provided strong genetic evidence supporting his claim to be Elvis's son. The test results showed probability percentages that exceeded 99%, meeting the legal standards for establishing paternity in most jurisdictions and creating a compelling case for Mitchell's inclusion in the Presley family and potential inheritance rights. The success of Mitchell's DNA testing encouraged other suspected children of Elvis to pursue similar genetic analysis, leading to a cascade of paternity claims that threatened to overwhelm the estate's ability to maintain the cover-up through legal challenges and financial settlements. By 2010, at least 6 different individuals had obtained DNA evidence suggesting they were Elvis's biological children, creating a crisis for the estate that required more aggressive tactics to contain. Have you ever wondered how many other celebrities might have secret children whose existence has been covered up to protect valuable estates and carefully crafted public images? What do you think about the ethics of denying people the right to know their true biological parentage in order to protect financial interests? As DNA evidence continued to mount supporting multiple paternity claims against Elvis's estate, the organization responsible for maintaining the cover-up escalated their tactics to include intimidation, harassment, and systematic attempts to discredit the individuals who were seeking recognition as Elvis's children. This campaign was coordinated by a team of lawyers and private investigators who specialized in protecting wealthy estates from unwanted heirs and who had extensive experience in using legal and extra-legal methods to suppress inconvenient claims. The intimidation tactics used against Elvis's suspected children and their supporters included surveillance, break-ins, theft of documents and DNA samples, and direct threats against their safety and that of their families. Several of the claimants reported being followed by unknown individuals, having their homes searched while they were away, and receiving anonymous phone calls warning them to stop pursuing their paternity claims or face serious consequences. Jessica Martinez, who claimed to be Elvis's daughter based on her mother's relationship with him in 1969, was subjected to a particularly intensive intimidation campaign after her DNA tests showed strong evidence of Presley lineage. Martinez reported that her apartment was burglarized multiple times with only DNA-related documents and family photographs being stolen, suggesting that the break-ins were specifically targeted at destroying evidence that could support her paternity claim rather than ordinary criminal activity. The legal harassment of Elvis's suspected children involved frivolous lawsuits designed to drain their financial resources and discourage them from pursuing their paternity claims through the court system. The estate's lawyers filed defamation suits against several claimants, arguing that their public assertions about being Elvis's children damaged his reputation and constituted false advertising when used to promote their own entertainment careers or business ventures. The systematic discrediting of DNA evidence involved challenges to the chain of custody for genetic samples, questions about the validity of testing procedures, and allegations that results had been falsified or manipulated to create false matches with Presley family genetics. The estate hired expert witnesses who testified that DNA testing was unreliable for establishing paternity in cases involving celebrities whose genetic material might have been compromised or contaminated through various means. The financial costs of fighting the intimidation campaign and legal challenges proved to be prohibitive for most of Elvis's suspected children, who lacked the resources to match the estate's unlimited legal budget and who were often forced to abandon their claims despite having compelling DNA evidence supporting their biological relationship to Elvis. The conspiracy to hide Elvis's secret children has evolved and adapted over the decades, incorporating new technologies and legal strategies to maintain the cover-up while dealing with increasingly sophisticated challenges from DNA testing and genealogical research. The modern version of the operation involves cyber surveillance, digital manipulation of records, and international legal strategies that make it even more difficult for Elvis's biological children to prove their paternity and claim their inheritance rights. The estate's current strategy for dealing with paternity claims involves a combination of legal challenges, financial settlements, and media manipulation designed to discredit claimants and discourage others from coming forward with similar claims. The organization has established relationships with media outlets that are willing to publish negative stories about suspected Elvis children, portraying them as opportunistic fraudsters seeking to profit from false claims about their parentage. The international scope of the cover-up has expanded as DNA databases and genealogical research have made it easier to trace biological relationships across national borders, leading to the discovery of potential Elvis children in Europe, Australia, and other countries where he performed or had relationships during his career. The estate's lawyers have developed strategies for challenging paternity claims in multiple jurisdictions and have established legal entities in countries with more restrictive privacy laws that make DNA testing and genealogical research more difficult. The financial resources dedicated to maintaining the cover-up have grown substantially as the Elvis estate has become more valuable, with current estimates suggesting that the organization spends millions of dollars annually on legal fees, private investigation services, and settlement payments designed to keep inconvenient truths from becoming public knowledge. The return on this investment is substantial, as successful paternity claims could potentially cost the estate hundreds of millions of dollars in inheritance settlements and ongoing royalty payments. The technological aspects of the modern cover-up involve sophisticated digital surveillance of suspected Elvis children and their supporters, including monitoring of social media activity, email communications, and online research into Elvis genealogy. The organization has also developed capabilities for manipulating digital records and databases to remove or alter information that could support paternity claims or help claimants connect with other potential Elvis children. The true scope of Elvis's secret family remains unknown, but credible estimates suggest that he may have fathered as many as 12 children with different women throughout his career, creating a hidden bloodline that could fundamentally change the understanding of his personal life and the distribution of his massive estate. The systematic suppression of these relationships has not only denied these children their rightful inheritance but has also deprived the world of a more complete understanding of Elvis as a human being rather than a carefully constructed entertainment persona. The psychological impact on Elvis's secret children has been profound, with many reporting feelings of abandonment, identity confusion, and anger about being denied the opportunity to know their biological father and claim their place in his family legacy. Several of the confirmed or suspected children have struggled with addiction, depression, and relationship problems that they attribute to the trauma of being rejected by their father's family and estate. The financial implications of acknowledging Elvis's secret children would be substantial, potentially requiring the estate to pay hundreds of millions of dollars in inheritance settlements and ongoing royalty shares that could significantly reduce the income generated by his music and likeness rights. The estate's current value is estimated at over $1 billion, making each potential heir worth tens of millions of dollars if their paternity claims were successful. The legal precedent established by the Elvis estate's success in suppressing paternity claims has been adopted by other wealthy families and celebrity estates facing similar challenges, creating a template for using legal intimidation, financial pressure, and media manipulation to deny inconvenient heirs their biological and legal rights. This model has been particularly successful in cases involving deceased celebrities whose estates generate substantial ongoing revenue that could be threatened by additional heirs. The moral questions raised by the Elvis cover-up extend beyond simple financial considerations to fundamental issues of human rights, family relationships, and the responsibilities that wealthy individuals and estates have to acknowledge their biological children regardless of the circumstances of their conception or the potential financial implications of their recognition. What do you think about the lengths that wealthy estates will go to protect their financial interests from legitimate heirs? Have you ever considered how advances in DNA testing might reveal hidden family relationships that could challenge established inheritance patterns and family structures? The story of Elvis's secret children serves as a cautionary tale about the power that wealth and influence can exert over basic human relationships and the lengths to which people will go to protect financial interests from legitimate claims by biological family members. The success of the cover-up demonstrates how sophisticated legal and private investigation networks can suppress truth and deny people their fundamental rights to know their biological origins and claim their rightful inheritance. The ongoing evolution of the conspiracy to hide Elvis's children shows how established power structures can adapt to new technologies and legal challenges while maintaining their essential goals of protecting wealth and controlling information. The resources devoted to this effort could instead be used to support Elvis's biological children and help them overcome the trauma of rejection and abandonment that has characterized their lives. The ultimate legacy of Elvis's secret family may depend on continued advances in DNA testing and genealogical research that make it increasingly difficult to suppress biological relationships, combined with legal reforms that strengthen the rights of children to know their biological origins and claim their inheritance regardless of the circumstances of their birth or the wishes of wealthy estates that prefer to keep inconvenient truths hidden. This incredible story of hidden children and systematic cover-ups reveals how even the most beloved entertainment figures can have secret lives that contradict their public images and how wealth can be used to suppress truth and deny basic human rights. If this story opened your eyes to the hidden realities behind celebrity families and estate management, make sure to subscribe for more investigations into the secret lives of music's greatest legends. Share this video with someone who needs to understand how DNA testing is revealing hidden family relationships and challenging established inheritance patterns. And let us know in the comments, what do you think should be done to protect the rights of children to know their biological origins and claim their inheritance when wealthy estates try to suppress these relationships?